And the Digging Into the Numbers segment is brought to you by Julie. Before you dig, call Julie at 811. And we really dig talking to Bill Walton, and he continues to stay with us. Thank God we're staying with us, by the way.
I'm the luckiest guy in the world, but I was a little confused because I heard one of the promos and ads there for the official nut of the White Sox.
Yes.
I'm the official nut of 670 to score. And I'm very proud of that moniker. I got to see such good basketball this past week. I got to see live San Antonio. They're really good. And I also got to see Oklahoma City. And they're just absolutely terrific as well. But how long is Harden going to be out? But these are two dynamic, young, vibrant, explosive teams that move the ball. Since Phil Jackson
San
retired,
Antonio's young?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
I know they've got that.
Duncan is not young.
Right, Ginobili and Parker.
Ginobili and Parker are fresh. They're not playing big minutes. Duncan in the paper today was saying how Popovich has done his best job, and while there is a huge push, particularly around here, to get Tom Thibodeau the Coach of the Year, first coach to ever do it twice in a row, but what Greg Popovich has done to take this aging team, retool the lineup, and come up with all these guys who are just playing so well and so smart, and they're moving the ball. Because I'm Phil Jackson. I'm a Phil Jackson fan. And that guy, his teams were always fun to watch. San Antonio right now. Remember when San Antonio used to win their games 92 to 88? It used to, oh God, come on, pick the pace up a little bit.
But
now it's everybody is passing that ball and they're shooting wide open. It is an offensive juggernaut right now. They're just really playing outstanding ball. And Duncan's role is totally different. He's no longer just the kind of guy you give it to and get out of his way. Everybody is moving without the ball, the crispness of the pass. It drives me crazy when somebody who shouldn't even have the ball in his hands gets it and holds it and brings it to a stop. I think that was one of the great things about Phil Jackson, what he was able to do with Michael and Scotty and Harper and all the different guys, get them who were brilliant individual players, but get them to play that team game, and that's what Popovich and Scotty Brooks at Oklahoma City's been able to do.
That's why I watch the Heat, and I wonder, with the best player in basketball, probably, I think, the greatest physical, the most talented player I've ever seen in LeBron James.
You can say that he's one of the best.
Well,
How could you
pure talent?
How could you say
Pure
that
talent.
anyone would have a greater physical package than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or Wilt Chamberlain, or Oscar Roberts, or Kevin Garnett, or David Robinson? These guys are all bigger.
This guy almost weighs as much as Wilt, and he's dribbling like a point guard. He guards Derrick Rose, he guards Kevin Durant.
Wilt could have done that too.
Guarded point guards?
Wilt could do whatever he wanted to do. There was nobody ever like Wilt.
Okay. Without arguing that
let's just
point,
say that he's among
yes,
the best.
But
And that's going to be the biggest problem for Chicago, because in playoff basketball, you have to have the best player. There's three elements to winning the championship: the best player, the top coach, and then you have to dominate the middle. And when you look at the Eastern Conference and who the Bulls have to go through, Indiana's playing good ball. They got a lot of talent, and they run and they push that pace. Vogel's done a very nice job. You've got Miami with all those stars there. You got Boston with those great players.
playoff players,
Big game players. And the last thing you want to do right now is put any more pressure on Derrick Rose. But Derrick Rose and Kevin Durant, they're guys that they have to show that they can win that final game. And that's so hard to do. And once you do it, you realize, man, that took everything that I had. And that's what was just so mind-boggling to me with my own spine surgery, in that I gave it everything I had, and I still couldn't get it done. And that's why I'm here. I'm here because somebody else had a vision, had a plan, and that's why Thibodeau and Paxson and Reinsdorf and all those guys who were looking at this fantastic Bulls team for the future, and to not just jeopardize it with one game and one push over a very short period of time, because this guy, Derrick Rose, is an unbelievable talent, and he's close enough that he can be in that mix of the great players.
But he's 6'3". You know, just you look at some of these games, it still matters how tall you are.
Only if you don't have someone else who can dominate the paint. Because when Michael and Scotty and Phil were winning all the championships, those guys, Michael and Scotty, they dominated the paint. You know, even though they had Luke Longley and Cartwright and Stacey King and all the guys, whoever else you want to put out there. But it was Jordan and Pippin's dominant, and Rodman and Harper. I mean, these guys were great basketball players.
Horace Grant.
Yeah, Horace Grant. The hardest thing to get, Dan, on it when you're putting a team together is to find that guy who is willing to get underneath that basket and just fight for that ball and do everything it takes to come out with that ball. So many of the guys, they just want to be pretty. They just want to stand out there and shoot threes. They just want to dribble all the time and go mindlessly and senselessly through their legs and behind their backs. And I can't believe that their pants don't get in the way of those crossover dribbles. But here's this sense of
Angry old men. These kids today with their shorts and their dribbling.
that's when you know you're getting really old. When I'm there. But to see the way that Rodman and Harper and Pippen and Jordan would fight for that ball, and we're starting to see that. You know, Noah does that. Boozer, he tries to style. His emphasis is on offense all the time. But Taj Gibson, I really like him, and Watson, what he does, and Brewer, and all these different guys. But while the Bulls bench is really, really good, their bench is not as good as San Antonio. San Antonio's bench, that's unbelievable. They just go 12 deep, and every one of them can play. Every one of them can think. And that's what I love most about coaching, is that the responsibility. And the NBA, in a huge transition period, Phil Jackson's gone, Pat Riley's gone, Jerry Sloan is gone, Don Nelson is gone, Larry Brown is gone. You know, Doc Rivers is a great coach, up and coming. And Greg Popovich, how much longer? Has he been the coach there for like 17 years, 18 years? That's absolutely astounding. But the job of the coach is the same job as the spine surgeon, is to make people better at what they do. My spine surgeon saved my life. Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich, they give people life. John Wooden, Dean Smith, Mike Krzyzewski, Roy Williams, these absolute legends. And that's why you make the choice to go and be a part of this great team. And that's why I'm here to encourage everybody to come down to our grand celebration of the Minimally Invasive Spine Institute grand opening tomorrow at 4:30 in the afternoon at the Midwest Orthopedics at Rush on Harrison Street.
We're talking with Bill Walton on Boers and Bernstein Show, WSCR The Score. We talk a lot, more so than other shows on the station. We're both sort of basketball guys. And have talked
I
a
used
lot.
to play basketball.
I heard that.
I didn't hear your name in there with all those other centers you mentioned, though.
One of the guys that we talk about a lot that I find intriguing in basketball history is Arvydas Sabonis. Another guy who went through all sorts of chronic medical issues. How has your path crossed with his? I'd be very curious to know what conversations the two of you have had. It's possible that Arvydas Sabonis is the best basketball player who's ever lived. We don't know because we didn't really see him when he was healthy.
I did. I saw him at the first time in my life when he was 19 years old. And I was over in Europe putting on some clinics. And we were participating in the European Championships. And he was 19 playing for the great Russian team. And he was the anchor in the future. And that was absolutely incredible. And Gamelski was his coach.
Alexander Gamelski, who lived in Chicago.
Phenomenal coach and leader and visionary. And in the first half of the championship game, Sabonis had 30 points, 20 boards, 15 block shots, and a dozen assists. And we're looking at each other on the stands saying, well, you can just throw out the rule book here. This is not about X's and O's. And then Gamelski didn't even start Sabonis in the second half. And it was just incredible. And he was 7'3", and he could just fly through the air. He was a combination of Bird, Maravich, Jabbar, and Wilt. And maybe Oscar as well. Just the perfect combination of everything, and just huge. And he could shoot threes, and he could throw the passes, and he could dribble up and down the court, and he could rebound and block shots. It was absolutely incredible. And there's a great new documentary out about Lithuanian basketball, the Other Dream Team, it's called.
With Marciulionis.
And all the different guys, and Sabonis, and it's a fantastic documentary. The Other Dream Team, it's called. And in the early 90s, when Marciulionis was playing for the Golden State Warriors, he gets interviewed in the paper there in San Francisco, and he's telling the story about how he's sending every dime he has back to the home country, Lithuania, because the children there have absolutely nothing. And so he's buying basketballs and gym shoes and towels and whatever. He's sending it all back. And so my friends in the Grateful Dead, who had become basketball fans over the years, they read this article. And so they called me up and said, Bill, come on, connect us with this guy, Marciulionis, or however you say his name is, Sharunas. And so I made the big connection, and the Grateful Dead, through their charitable arm,
I remember this.
the Rex Foundation, they gave Sharunas these T-shirt licenses from the Grateful Dead. And Sharunas was able to raise millions and millions of dollars to send everything back home for the children back there. And then they were also able to get the tie-dye jerseys for the '92 Olympics. And so it's all rolling into one here. And then Sabonis comes over and he plays for Portland, and we become friends, and we had all the good laughs and everything over the years. And then when Sabonis was enshrined into the Basketball Hall of Fame a year ago, he called me up and he said, Bill, I'd like you to be my presenter. And so I go there, and I'm there up on the stage with him, and when we get off the stage, he turns and he presents to me one of the original Grateful Dead licensed T-shirts. It was unbelievable. I am the luckiest guy in the world.
And the documentary's where? I want to see.
So where's it at?
It's just coming out right now. It's making the round of all the film festivals. It was out at Sundance. It's going to be in California. It's going to be up in Seattle. It'll be in Cannes and all this stuff.
Now, before you go back to the Bay Area for a second, I want to make sure that this is
a good place.
I tell this story all the time because there's a segment that we do sometimes on Fridays called Live Ringers.
Is it already Friday?
And it's people tell they tell their stories about being involved in recreational athletics and having either somebody on their team or the other team who probably didn't belong there. And one of the stories I relate is a friend of mine who was at Stanford, and he says he showed up for an intramural basketball game, and the other team's center was Bill Walton.
That's a true story.
Okay.
I have bad stuff. But two aspects there. Participation in sports, what we live for. Now imagine the most important thing in your life, which for me has always been athletics and movement and playing and fighting for the ball and going for it. And now you can't do that anymore because your body doesn't work. The same way that Derrick Rose is questioning, when's my body going to get better? And I'm the luckiest guy because I've gotten better. And now I'm back playing in the game of life. I'm climbing up that mountain one more time, rebuilding my whole life. And then that sense you said of someone who doesn't belong. That's my greatest skill in life, being someplace where I have no business. But to be here today on your show, what a great opportunity. A great opportunity because Jerry Garcia, who was just fantastic. And by the way, we won that intramural basketball game.
I'm shocked.
Stanford.
I'm shocked.
We had a very good team. But Jerry Garcia, who was there, grew up a very tough, hard life there in San Francisco. Wind, rain, fog, mist, cold, bitter. But one of Jerry's greatest skills in life was that he was able to beautify the sad, hard, cruel world. So he writes this song called The Morning Dew about how when he goes outside in the morning, it's cold, it's wet, it's damp, and the wind's blowing in his face, and all he can hear is people asking, pleading, begging for help, and the children particularly crying. So he writes this song about the morning dew and this challenge, the struggle, the fight to make it better. And the refrain at the end of the song where Jerry just howls, and it's just absolutely so magnificent, he says, does it really matter anyway? Does it really matter anyway? And that's the legacy that he has left. That's the legacy that Michael and Scotty and Phil and all the great champions here in this city. And that's the legacy that Dr. Phillips and Dr. Singer are trying to leave over the Midwest Orthopedic Rush, the Minimally Invasive Spine Institute. Come and check us out. Tomorrow, 4:30, we'll be there. Bring all your memorabilia, bring your photographs, all have plenty of pins. We'll just have a grand celebration of.
You'll be there as long as it takes, right? Whenever the people want to come out and talk to you, you will stay.
Terry, my plane is not till Thursday.
If people want more information on the event, here is the number to call, 630
212-1226. Again, 630-212-1226.
See, I would like the
Does
cheap
it
shot of
really
him.
matter?
You know, in an intramural game, after listening to you though, Bill, now I wouldn't do it, but I would have loved a cheap shot of you in an intramural game, and now after listening to you, I wouldn't have done it now. I would have felt bad.
Where is Maurice Lucas when you're
Right,
really
exactly right.
Well,
What a nice guy.
probably
I mean,
being chased by Norm Van Leer somewhere.
oh my
Those
God.
Blazer Bowl games that we had in the 70s, phenomenal. Lionel Hollins versus
Yep.
Norm Van Leer, Maurice Lucas versus the entire city of Chicago,
Chicago, yeah.
Artis Gilmore, who was the toughest guy in the world for me. Just, oh my gosh.
This has been a lot of fun, Bill.
Dan,
Thank you.
Nobody was that tough for you, I don't believe.
Does it really matter?
No,
Probably not.
It does matter, and that's why we're here today. Thanks for making the difference, guys. Let's go. 670 to score. I'm Bill Walton, Chicago. Oh, yes, we're back here in the springtime. Let's hope it lasts forever.